Good evening, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh, we got a lot of people in the chat, don't we?
Yes, we do.
All right, let's get it out of the way.
We even have somebody Tom from Norway here.
There's no crying in large scale, so get rid of your box of tissues now. And in case you forget, have another box handy.
Okay.
I just thought I'd throw that out there. Now Vincent looks all confused.
So welcome back, everybody. Dad level jokes. Great. Now we're doing dad jokes on our show. Awesome.
What can I say?
So happy Sunday, everyone, as Joe said. And we're back. I said with a new season, but Andrew corrected me and says the season starts in September. But
you told me it started when you told me it started, so I don't know.
So I'm telling you it starts now. New season. Start tonight.
All right. Let's see here. So we got several different things on here tonight. We got several product announcements on here. We got a bunch of different events that are coming up. Vinny's got a bunch of things he's going to show us.
That's Vinny.
That's Vinny. In case anybody forgot, we haven't seen him in a while.
Well, I mean, last time he was on the show, he was what, like 2-3 years younger?
Sure.
Yeah.
Nico got robbed 2.0.
So let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Splitjaw. When we come back, we'll take a look at what kind of events we have coming up here.
All right, sounds good.
The following episode of Large Scale Live is brought to you by Splitjaw, makers of quality metal products for the G-scale modeling world. For rail clamps, expansion joints, bridges, and more, Splitjaw Products has you covered. For more information, visit their website at www.railclamp.com.
All right. So, as always, if you go on over to largescaletrains.com, where I keep trying to make it more organized and less of a train wreck, there's actually several different things coming up. This first one that I'll mention, if anyone is friends with Kevin Huggins, that would be his layout. The one thing I'll mention is because that's a personal layout that's open. If you go, please be on extra, super, double, good behavior. And I'm sure Kevin would love to see anybody that's in the area. That's actually in, where the heck did it say it's at? Albany, Illinois. That's on September 9th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
He actually sent me an invite for that, but not unfortunately, but I had already planned to be visiting somebody else's layout on that weekend. So.
Yeah, I wanted to go as well, and I'm trying to think. There's something going on that day. I don't have that calendar in front of me right now. But if you go over to the website and you want to get more info, you can click into each one of these and get further info on them. But Kevin's got a very nice layout. I believe it's a double track, runs all the way around his outside of his house. He's a Rock Island fanatic, so you'll see a bit of that. I think some Burlington.
He's always posting great pictures on Facebook. Wish I could go next time.
Also coming up will be the Columbus Garden Railway Society's layout tour. Let's see here. Oh, okay, so that's going to open the right way. That one, I don't have any photos up there for it, but if you go to the site and click into it, I do have a selection of videos here from some of the layouts that may be on the tour from past years, if you'd like to take a look and see what kind of layouts there may be. But not all of these layouts are going to be there and open. These are just past ones. But again, if you go onto the site, you'll find the info for their site. That's going to be on September 10th.
Will you be there signing autographs at any of these events?
I think I was planning on going to this one. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. That was that same weekend as Kevin's thing. But yeah, September 10th, 1 to 5. Now this next one, I don't know a whole lot about. This is the Tulsa Garden Railroad Club in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
That would be where Tulsa is.
Yeah, September 16th from 9 to 4 and September 17th from 1 to 4. Let's see. The Cincinnati Garden Railway Society will be having their second swap meet of the year at Entertainment Junction. That's going to be on September 16th from 10 a.m. to 1:30. If you read the flyer, it may be a little bit smaller than the spring one, but I went to the fall one year before last, and I still came home with my pockets empty. So Nico wasn't there to pay him for me. And also, of course, where you will find Nico, Vinny, and myself will be the RLD Hobbies Fall Open House, September 29th and 30th. That's always a good time. And if you go and check out the link for that one, or if you subscribe to my channel, oh, there's Kevin popping up.
Yep. He said he's Milwaukee, Rock Island, Rio Grande. Those are the three main railroads represented.
Sweet. What was I going to say? Oh, if you check out the link for that, you'll find that I finally just edited and uploaded my video from last fall's open house. It's only like 14 more backlog videos to edit.
So is that the GC?
That would be the Cincinnati club there. Yep.
Okay. Well, if it was Cincinnati, I thought maybe the C would be in the front, but
Greater Cincinnati Garden Railway System.
Got the greater, the G. Yep.
I don't think there's a less greater, but you know.
Is there greater and South greater?
I don't know. I didn't get the memo when I joined that club, so I'll have to investigate. Yeah, they're a really good club. They have a lot of good people in the club. We'll also have October 1st, the Pennsylvania Garden Railway Tour coming up. I haven't done that one in a few years. That's always a pretty decent tour. If you want to go and check out the event thing for that, I've actually got a bunch of videos embedded there that are, I think 2 of them are mine and the rest are from our friend Sean Conahay from Dackman Productions, because he covered all kinds of stuff on that tour for years. But you can take a look at some of the past layouts. Some of those will be on the tour this year. And okay, I think that's it for the events. I guess we should talk about what's coming out new, huh?
That would be good.
Sweet.
It's always nice when there's new stuff coming out for our hobby here.
I have to agree with you on that one. So let me pull that up here. Hey,
Sean, thanks for the mention.
he's alive. Oh, wait, he goes to bed in like another 5 minutes, I think.
He's lurking in chats.
Hey, thanks for all the coverage that you've done on that tour and other ones for all the years, Sean. I know that you like to burn that candle at both ends and then add another one in because it gets down to nothing. So, starting at the top of the list here, I know some may have already seen this. RLD and Winona Garden Railway will be doing a exclusive run of the USA Trains SD70s in the Canadian Pacific Kansas City Southern merger scheme. Looks like they'll be doing 2 different road numbers in that. And of course, if you want to pre-order those, you have to go to RLD Hobbies or Winona Garden Railway's website, which I do have linked on there.
Is Winona Garden Railways up in Canada?
That's in Canada.
Yeah. Okay.
Hey,
What?
you hoser. I'm just kidding.
I just said Canada.
Canada. Where's Shane Stewart at? He needs to correct us.
Eh?
Uh,
Canada, eh?
Can- also, I believe this was just over the weekend. Reindeer Pass is going to do a custom run on the Pico 2-bay covered hoppers in Burlington Northern. They're actually going to do 4 different car numbers on those. I believe they are expecting those, I think later this year, those should actually be out. I thought I had that. Oh, November 2023 is when they're expecting to see those. So if that's something you're interested in, you'll have to. Hey, there's Shane. I don't know how to say that.
Ontario.
Larry Otis said, we need E8s again. Well, I'm going to tell you what. Everybody that wants E8s, start calling Bachman, start sending them email to where they got to leave the phone off the hook and just start deleting all the email because they're getting too much. And then when they know everybody wants them, I'm pretty certain they will probably make them, because if it's a hot item, they're going to make it, I think.
Yep. And I think somebody was asking about the ST70s being run again. As far as the last time we talked to USA Trains, they said they were planning on doing them for next year. You know, that timeline may shift one way or the other, but
yeah, and I think that's where that run that Winona and RLD are doing is probably coming from.
did they have a expected arrival date for those?
I did not see that on there when I looked at it.
Okay.
At least I didn't see it. I'm not saying it wasn't there.
Okay.
Bachman had several announcements that they did. It's an NMRA show that's going on this weekend, or it might be over already. One of the items they're putting out is a optical auto reversing system. It'll come with optical sensors that just kind of snap underneath the track, and a variable speed transformer that's made just for that. And I've also got their announcement video for it embedded in the page there. Let's see. And this one, I have no confirmation, but I'm going to say by the fact it says 1/29th scale, and looking at the pictures, it looks kind of familiar, that these are going to be the Aristo single dome tank cars being reproduced. Looks like Bachman's going to do 2 different road numbers in Shell, Texaco, and Quaker State. And they're going to do a single number in a Christmas, Mrs. Claus Christmas Punch.
Should be an eggnog.
Well, maybe that'll be next year. I mean, I've always wanted a whole string of the Scrooge's coal hoppers to run at Christmas time, but I don't know what I'd do with them the rest of the year.
They'll just sit around.
Yeah, exactly. And same thing, I've got their announcement video there if you'd like to go there and watch it. And then, of course, the other item, actually the last item on my list, double check. Actually, no, not the last item on my list. Pay no attention to me. Bachman announced some new road names / paint schemes for the Dash 9 for next year. Now, one thing I'm going to point out from the beginning, you'll see in red down here, that this is a conditional announcement. This is all dependent on good pre-order numbers for them to produce these. So if they don't see the demand for them, you may not see them. So if you're interested, call up your dealer of choice for model trains and tell them you're interested. But it looks like they'll be doing the modern era yellow sill for the Union Pacific. I don't think they did Southern Pacific the first batch, right?
Nope.
They'll be doing the Bright Future in CSX. I think the first one was what, the
Dark Future.
The dark, is that what it is? Dark
Yep.
Future. That sounds like kind of like comic book, Dark Future, Bright Future. Of course, Canadian National A. There's our friend Colin. He said he would like a Southern Pacific patch for UP. We'll see if we can get that for him.
I like the Bright Future. That's my favorite paint scheme for CSX.
Yeah, I think I like that better than the Dark Future.
Yep.
and then the BNSF is the Heritage 2. The one they just did was that the swoosh with like the kind of like angled lettering on it, I thought? Or am I wrong on that?
BNSF? Did they do BNSF?
They did the H3, which is the swoosh.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. And of course, have the announcement video for their stuff there as well. Let's see. Oh, actually, scroll down a little bit more. RLD Hobbies will also be doing their own exclusive paint scheme. They'll be doing 2 road numbers of Chicago and Northwestern in the -9. But again, these are just like the other ones that are subject to having the pre-order numbers to have them produced. So if you're interested in that one, you have to go directly to RLD Hobbies and tell them you would like 1, 2, 15 of them. I don't know. How many you get?
How many road numbers is he doing?
He's doing 2.
Oh, good.
I think what we should do, we'll wait for Jonathan Straczynski to buy 2 and run them for 5 minutes. And then since they're used, we'll get them from Les from him.
Yeah, that worked out good for us last year. I'm looking forward to what we're going to get at a discount this year. Is he here? He's not even here to defend himself.
I was hoping if he was, I would have got his attention. And then let's see. I didn't have this one pulled up. I've had several people ask me about Ollie Valley Railcar. Most of you, I think, know, but those that you don't, they're the ones that do the 89-foot flat cars.
Yep.
And I talked to David Weber, our friend Dave.
Yeah, we were just at his house not too long ago.
And he told me that he's currently working on kit upgrades, and he is possibly thinking next month is when he may have those ready to start being purchased. He also told me that they just purchased an Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro filament printer. He said that way we can use tougher materials for items like bolsters and KD coupler pockets. He said we're working on using PETG with carbon reinforcements for these items so that the screws will thread into them much better than resin. He said also the end steps on the flat cars, which can be a little fragile, were redesigned with a small magnet so that if the car derails or similar, the step will simply move and does not break. And he says that he will make these parts available to all our existing customers at no charge. So if you have any of the 89-foot flat cars that suffered a calamity on the steps, it sounds like Dave's going to make the replacement ones available for free, which is very nice of him.
I just need to address something. No, I'm not wearing an HO shirt. This is what is it, the Riverside?
Northeast Auto Paint.
Oh, you got your Riverside Railroad Club
Yes.
shirt on.
Riverside Railroad for the show that Andrew's part of there.
I think that came with a free plastic wheel, didn't it?
Yes, unfortunately. And so Steve said he's done a Texaco eggnog and a Canadian Pacific extra nog
What
trade.
in the world is he talking about?
We were talking about the
Okay.
single dome tanker car with the eggnog. It said Mrs. Claus's punch. Come on,
Okay.
stay with it.
I'm trying to stay with it. If I don't fall out of my chair. Good thing I don't drink.
Joseph is looking for flat. What are you looking for? Flat wood deck cars from Oli for more military loads. I guess they made a flat wood deck car.
I don't recall him making that, but I could be wrong. I see someone likes the ideal of the move but do not break with the magnetic steps.
Yep, that's always nice.
But with my luck, like with one of my new Dash 9s,
It's just going to fall off and you'll
it's
lose
going
it.
to fall off in the ballast and be gone. It's out there in the gravel somewhere. I'll find it one day.
Yeah. He says they haven't made one yet. He's thinking of it.
Ah, okay.
So he's just trying to, plant the seed. Hopefully it grows.
So the next thing that I was going to show, and I don't have any fancy graphics or anything like that for this one, unfortunately, because he doesn't have a website or anything at the moment. Let's see here. Hot one. So many of you out there in Facebook land may know Manny Real. There's one of his stickers, the Real Railroad Shop. And I'm pretty sure I'm saying your last name right again this time, but if I'm wrong, please smack me around. I actually called and spoke to him after the last show. He actually gave me a nice video chat tour around his layout. But he's actually got a few different products that he offers. And I'll put it up here before I forget.
And he's watching the show right now.
There he is. So I'm going to put in the chat. This is a link to his Facebook profile. If anything I'm showing you within the next moment here is something you're interested in, that is the best way to get a hold of him on purchasing stuff. Now, since he's in the chat, he might be able to answer some questions. But one of the first items that he sent me here, these are actually adapter plates that work with the
USA Trains.
Well, I know that part. What's the speaker brand, Nico?
Visiton.
Visiton. Yeah. So if you ever look in your fuel tank for your speaker mounts, those holes don't match up with the speakers that Robbie ultimately sells usually. These actually have two different patterns in them. And what it's for, and you'll probably not see it too well on camera, is that'll go in and it lines up with those three screw holes in the fuel tank. And then the other holes line up for the Visitone speaker so you can screw it right in.
Just so everybody else knows that may not know, the three holes are for speakers without the mounting flange. So when you have just a round speaker without a mounting flange, then you use the clips that are like in the Bachmann engines that hold the speaker in.
That's what I use because I put them. Mine always go up in. I don't know where the hell the shell's at now, but they'll go up in the top of the shell.
Yeah, but I mean that's what that's what that was intended for originally.
So I look forward to trying those out that he sent to me. Full disclosure, he sent these to me for free, and I highly appreciate it.
Why do you get to try them out and I don't get to try them out?
Well, you decided you neted to take time off. I don't know what to tell you.
I had to find myself.
That's okay. And another couple items that he offers are these 3D printed, what do I want to call that?
Moose skull.
Skull and antler moose heads, I guess. He said those have been a fairly popular item with people. And they actually do yourself a favor and make sure where it's at when you go to sit down. Those things are kind of pokey. Don't sit on those. But those have some really nice detail to them. Robbed again.
Yep.
And then the last item I'll show you that he is offering is this guy here. Now, if you've seen it or based off the shape, you might know.
So he calls those elk and moose skulls.
Ah, there we go.
And he said they're not for sitting on, Andrew.
Yeah, exactly. Full disclosure, this is not my remote. It's a loaner because I wanted to demonstrate this properly.
I thought you were betraying the Revo trust. And
No, I'm too far in with that. So most of you that have a RailPro remote, they don't come from the factory with any type of lanyard on them. You can send them back and they'll put one on it for you. And there's some different options out there for these, but as Manny will tell you, after he lost or broke two of these, he felt kind of bad because they're expensive. So he makes this nice case for it that simply, get my hand out of the way, slides down in there, and then the lanyard mount at the top here kind of locks it in there. I mean, but it's not going to fall out of there. And he includes a lanyard with it, so when you're not using it, you can just hang it around your neck upside down like that. And it also, I believe, should give you some added protection if you would accidentally drop this. And I believe I got the info because I asked him before the show. He told me I have the uncanny ability of asking him questions when he's trying to work on stuff. 600 down the drain. Yeah, that sounds about
do
right
something.
for 2 remotes. So I asked him.
Peter Bang likes your speaking voice here.
As long as he doesn't start talking about the shape of my skull, we're okay.
You're Jimmy's brother, right? With the sweet voice.
So this case is made out of carbon fiber resin. It's PLA-CF, and the case itself is $30 plus shipping. Quick release with top hole. Oh, yes. So, yeah. At first, I thought there was supposed to be a port there, and I did figure that out. And I guess I should point that out is it does have the port opening as well, so you can plug in your USB for charging and upgrading and everything. But, yeah, you can just, well, don't do like I did earlier. Keep your hand on the other end so it doesn't, like, launch out of there when you push it out. But then it will come out. So, very nice product. I'd say not mine. If I had one, I think I would definitely give this a whirl. And if you're lucky enough tonight, this could be yours. Because we're going to do this as your giveaway item tonight.
The only reason you're
later in
giving
the
it
show.
away because you don't have Rail Pro.
No, I would actually still give it away. Because I would turn around and buy one from Manny then. So make sure you stick around tonight. If you're a Rail Pro user and you'd like this is going to be our giveaway item. I'd give this away to you, but I think my friend Cody would get upset with me.
I don't think he'll mind.
So, with that said, that's all I have to talk about.
Finally. Woo!
I know. Feeling parched.
So, as many of you know, my son Vinny.
Hi, Vinny.
That's Vinny. If anybody hasn't seen Vinny in a while, that's Vinny now.
They look a little bit different. It's been about 2 or 3 years.
Yep. Oh, Cody says it doesn't work anyway, so.
No. Okay.
Dibs.
Figures he gives me broken things.
So, I guess we'll. What do you want to start with, Vinny?
Well, I have several custom scratch-built 3D printed models to show y'all tonight. So, if you want to switch the camera.
I can switch the camera. Bing.
We'll start off, there it is, with one of the 3D printed models here. So, you get this in frame a little better.
Oh,
This
that's
is a
interesting.
Norfolk Southern G83 coal gondola, also known as a Dolly Parton gun by rail fans because of,
Seriously, that's what it's known by, is a Dolly Parton gun?
yes.
Ah, okay.
So this was fully 3D printed. I designed this as a school project, actually. And I think it came out pretty well. So it's 3D printed. It has metal handrails. And it's riding on Aristo trucks. And it's got Katie couplers on it. So this was printed in several pieces. So you can kind of see.
So the entire hopper's printed? It's not just a kit bash of something else?
Yeah, the whole thing's printed. The only thing that is not printed is the trucks and the couplers. And then the metal for the grab irons.
That was done in sections then.
Yes. So
now I understand the pictures you sent me. Okay.
it's kind of hard to see, but right there.
You can see it in the inside.
Yeah, there you go. You can see it down the bottom. There's a seam in there. So the bottom was printed in 2 pieces, and then each side panel was printed separately. So about that much of the car was printed at a time. And then each end was also printed separately. And then it was all glued together. And then you have the car.
And then it was painted, detailed.
Yes. So this was just painted with Rust-Oleum paint from the hardware store. and then the safety stripes are vinyl stickers, and all the logos are actually painted on. If I can get it.
Oh, you did the vinyl mask?
Yes.
Very nice.
So that's actually all painted on there.
Gee, I wonder who did that.
I did most of it.
The vinyl mask I was talking about.
I made the NS part.
Do you want me to show the couple build pictures that you sent me of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Art is asking what glue you used to glue it
Just
together.
super glue.
That's the wrong car.
That's the 4427.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
There you go.
I guess I only have one picture of your build on that then.
I thought I sent you more. Maybe not.
You may have it maybe in that last 5 million photo dump you sent me right before the show that you said didn't send.
I don't know what you're talking about. But you can see it there. That's in primer after I sanded it. And that was before paint, of course. So that's the first car I have to show y'all tonight.
Anybody have any questions about that car? We can answer, or Vinny can answer, I should say. What car are we going to move on to next there, Vinny?
Next. This is a LGB covered hopper that I kit bashed from a 3-bay into a 2-bay. So you can see on the bottom here where it was cut apart. So basically I just cut all the parts right down the center. So I basically just removed the center bay and then shoved everything back together. And of course, you have to put the circular hatches on it to make it prototypical. So I had to fill in the holes on top where the
Hatches were.
yes.
I bet you had more fun doing that than Kyle did doing his 2 bays.
So Taya has a question on how long the other one took to print. How many hours?
So each panel took roughly, I think it was 8 hours each. So 8 times 4 plus the bottom 2. I think I estimated it was roughly 50 hours worth of printing.
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at Larry Otis in the chat. He said 2 bay or not 2 bay.
So Andrew B has a question on explanation of a vinyl mask. Do you want to do that, or
I'll let you explain it since you have more experience with them.
So a vinyl mask, just think if you cut the sticker where you would cut out the M, K, and the T, that would be your sticker. But imagine if you take the M, K, and the T out, and then you're left with the outside edges of the M, K, and T. So it's the reversed image.
Yeah, think of an old school stencil.
Right. So it's like a stencil. So what we do is we cut it out on our vinyl cutter. Then we were able to put it on the car, and then you could paint it whatever color you want, which is also nice because then you're able to, if you want to sand it lightly to make it look weathered or anything like that. Oh, here we go. Vinny, you got one here.
Now,
So basically,
when you put the vinyl on to do the mask.
yeah, Vinny's going to show you here.
Oh, okay.
So, yep, there you go. So we would put this on the car. So, and then paint it. So the C, the S, and the 31 would be left on the side of the car. Then we peel that sticker off, and you're left with the painted image on the car.
Now, do you spray another coat of the car color before you do that to kind of like seal the edges so you don't get like bleed under, or no?
Only if we're going over, like on this car where he has the MKT, that was on a big flat surface.
Okay.
So it sticks pretty well. The only time you really ever have to do that is if you're going over, like edges or rivets or details. But what's nice about the vinyl, if you heat it up slightly, you can, bend it into the crevices. And if you paint it pretty quickly, you don't have that issue as much.
And I saw a couple people in here. Steve Heavyside asked if printing in PETG, and Manimal asked what material as well.
ABS. That car is all ABS.
On the Dolly Parton one that you did. That's
The brake wheel is the brake wheels I printed with
Those are resin.
resin, but the
Everything else is ABS.
Yep. What is this? We got a question here. Can you print the same part more than once during the same print? So it depends on what fits on the bed of your printer. So depending on the size of the printer you have, you could fit something on the bed. Yes, sometimes you could print two, but it usually doesn't cut down the time when you're doing filament printing. If you're doing SLA printing, thank you. If you're doing resin, I was going to say resin. If you're doing resin printing, yes, you could cut down the time. But with the SLA, it's still got to lay down the layers each time, so it doesn't really help.
And the thing to keep in mind too with that type of printing, unless you're setting it up to print a part complete before moving to the next one, if it's an 8-hour part and you do 3 and it fails halfway through, you've now lost all that time and you got 3 junk parts.
Yep.
So you got to kind of balance it a bit.
Well, we've done it sometimes where we've lost 1 out of 2 or 3 parts. So sometimes you can make up 2 instead of just losing 1. You still gain 2.
The braces on the inside of the car here, I printed a handful of those at the same time, and one of them failed, but I still had 4 other ones, which was more than enough that I needed to complete the car. So you can print multiple parts at once, but you do have the risk of losing 1.
And I see Steve Heavyside was asking why ABS over PETG.
So personally, I prefer ABS for a couple of reasons. With ABS, I can vapor smooth parts. So that gets rid of a lot of the lines. And then you could just lightly sand after that. With the PETG, you have to pretty much sand. You can't vapor smooth.
Yeah, and that's what I'm using for a lot of my stuff is the PETG. But for the ABS, for the vapor smoothing, you got to be comfortable with boiling acetone. So
I'm comfortable with it.
Oh, that's fine that you are. I'm letting people out there that know that.
I have a small burner that I bought from like Walmart. It's just a single burner like you would use in a dorm. And then I have a pan, I have a pot, and I put the acetone right in there. And then you could just kind of put the part over it. And basically what the acetone melts ABS. So basically what you're doing is you're melting the top layer very finely. You're putting that the vapor on it, and it's smoothing it out and melting it. And you could just keep doing it until you get the finish that you're happy with. What printer am I using? So up until recently, I had an Artillery Sidewinder X1, which worked phenomenal for me for a few years. Now we have I don't even want to say it. Now we have a new printer that's not so happy, but we're working out the kinks on it, and we're very close to finding its happy place.
That car though was printed partially on a Prusa Mark III i3 S Plus as well as our home printer.
Yep, that was the Artillery. You finished that up.
No.
Oh, that was this one?
Yep.
Okay.
So what do you got next there, Vinny?
Did we finish? Did you show the progress pictures of the 2-bay?
If you sent me progress pictures, I have pictures of it like in different paint schemes already done.
Huh.
I'm guessing those are other ones that were in the thing that didn't send.
Probably, yeah.
The school has Prusa. Yep, the school he went to had Prusa.
We had 4 of them, and they also had a MakerBot, which didn't work very well.
I see Wigwag's looking at a Creality K1 Max. I'm not familiar with that one. I have an Ender 3 Max behind me that's worked well.
Yep. That's what I did buy a Creality. Was it the S10 Pro or something like that, and it didn't work right out of the box. And I read reviews. A couple people said they had that issue. I didn't find their help very helpful. So, it's been a frustrating journey with this new printer.
Yeah.
And
but both are minor reality, and I haven't had major issues with them, so I was kind of surprised that.
Yep.
But it happens every now and then. There's stuff that has some bugs with it.
Yep, as I said, it's just the nature of it. I mean, I've found a really great video on, and really the only issue I'm having is when I'm printing with support. So anything that has a support layer, that's where my so that's when I'm having the issue. So Dominic wants to know, when do they come in production? I don't know which car you're talking about, the hopper car or the covered hopper or the Dolly Parton going?
Probably everything. You got a price list, Vinny?
Well, the LGB covered hopper, I did a little trade with someone. They sent me 2 hopper cars. I cut one down and sent it back to them.
So yeah, he did a swap and deal.
Yep. Yeah, Mikey's got the same Ender 3 as me, but I believe he upgraded his to have the auto bed leveling on it.
Yep. Now, somebody was asking how small, this is the one I was looking for, Mike Carter, how small can 3D printed parts get and still function? I mean, you can print some tiny parts. So if anybody remembers the latches on the top of the reefer cars for the aristo-craft, it has a little thing that you could wedge up to hold the latches open. I've printed replacements of those. The little handles on an Evans box car, printed replacements of those. So you can get pretty small.
Yeah, especially with the resin stuff, you can really get down there. Now, anybody looking at the image on the screen right now, that's not resin or otherwise printed. That is laser cut wood. Am I not mistaken?
Yep.
That is correct. This is a laser cut Conrail N11 kit that I acquired. It was partially built when I got it.
You acquired. How do I acquire such a thing? I have to go over when Kyle's sleeping and find his.
Next time Kyle's sleeping in your backyard, you could go through his car.
He's probably a light sleeper with my luck.
But
So-
I had to make all the handrails for this. So these are actually styrene strip that I drilled holes through. And then I cut, it's actually piano wire, which was cut and glued into the stanchions and then painted and glued to the car.
Piano wire. Did you have to tune it?
Thankfully, no.
And I do have your progress pics on that one pulled up.
I think I have some pictures of the stanchions being built, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, let's see here.
Yep, there they are. So you can see the white styrene strip there. And then the piano wire, I just drilled a hole through the center of it where I needed, and then just put the wire through. A little tiny dot of super glue on each one. And it's held up so far.
There's an end pic of it. And yeah, I guess when we really zoom in and look at it, you can tell it's definitely wood.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, now that you have it finished and everything, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell.
There's really only one part that you can still see wood on.
And I see a few more people have dropped into the chat. Anybody that's joined us recently, thanks for tuning in tonight to see what we got going on. I appreciate it. Now, this is after, I'm guessing, you got your first coat of primer on it, and that already looks a lot smoother.
Yeah, I had to use some I used some wood putty on the joints and sanded that down to get rid of the rough look.
Ah, okay. I've never done laser etched Sparky, but I get the feeling that the machine
It's laser cut. It's basically laser cut.
And what's crazy is you look at the open grates on the end platforms. That's all see through, and that's from the laser machine cutting it out.
Yeah, just cutting holes, just like a laser would cut a piece of metal. Same
And that
concept.
actually answers John's question already. Yeah,
Yep.
the grid's laser cut wood, John.
Yep, it's all that same wood the whole car is made out of. It's
But
laser cut wood, John. See?
But yeah, I thought that came out exceptionally well.
Thank you.
Wait, those aren't the trucks you have under it now, is it?
Yep, it's their OGB roller bearing trucks with aristo-craft 36-inch tender wheels.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I thought you had different trucks under it.
Gee, I wonder where you got those tender wheels from.
You might be missing them, Nico.
You can see the wood there on the underside of the roof, and partially how it's gone together with some of the joint marks.
O-scalers. Wrong scale, Sparky. We're G-scalers.
I was gonna say, who's an O-scaler? Where's Sean? Kyle made the frame, the metal bar underneath.
Yes.
You know, although Nico, after your post at the show you were at, Sean told me he was glad to see you were getting into O-scale.
I was giving O-scale away at that show. We had lasers. We cut it
All
with
sharks.
lasers.
Okay, now I get the joke. Austin Powers.
All right, on to more blue.
Woo! More blue.
Keeping with the theme of Conrail, we have an entire locomotive.
John wants to know if you have an interior in the caboose.
In the caboose, no, there's no interior in it. I might put one eventually, but it has so few windows and they're so small, you can't even really see it unless you take the roof off. So this is a B23-7, which was built from an aristo-craft U25B. And this took a lot of work to get done here. And I actually made two of them. You can't just have one; you gotta have two. And if you look closely, you can see there's actually differences. So on the Conrail one, the headlight is on the cab, not the nose, so it has the block-off plate there, and the headlight's up here. On the CSX, it's got the block-off plate on the cab, and the headlight's down there on the nose.
So what is this? Have you ever 3D printed a G-scale or gauge 1 water tank tender? I've never done one.
Neither have I.
I don't know if he's talking like an auxiliary water tender.
Yeah. Infinity Hobbies channel, Vincent has printed a bunch for me. Dash 9 fuel tank, tank
That's
car
our friend
ends.
Gary.
Yep.
Yes.
He's not too far from us. Well, he's further from us now than we used to be, but yes. Wigwag likes the Conrail.
I got about 5 million pictures you sent me on the build on those, Vinny, so I'm just kind of trying to grab a handful of them here to put up there.
So yeah, these are the U25Bs made into something.
Made it a B23-7, so you got the whole new back end, courtesy of Manimal on the back there.
Yeah, which I believe he's put all those files up now that you use for that. For
yes,
people
as
to
well as
create their own.
It'll focus there. I have the roller bearing journal boxes on it too.
Yeah. I'll show a little bit later here. I've tried to update the selection of 3D print links on the website. I have most of the files for those and other things linked on there. Let's see here. Let's take a look at some of your build photos on that, Vinny.
So I had to shorten the nose, and that moved the cab forward. I had to extend the frame on both ends by 1 scale foot, which I think I have a picture of that somewhere.
Oh, yeah, you do. Let's see. I think it's this one here. Is that it?
So in that picture, you can see the humps on the back of the U25B are removed and filled in, and then that black part there is the 3D printed spacer to extend the frame. For the CSX one has EMD trucks on it, so I had to make a custom plate on the bottom to attach those.
So by EMD trucks, you mean
The USA trucks, yes.
Yeah.
So I'm
So
looking
that
at
one of
this.
them has GP38 trucks, and one of them has
U25B trucks.
the original U25B.
What was going on in this picture, Vinny?
So on the back of the B23, before like the rear radiator section, the body actually widened. So if you look, you can see that I cut that section
Oh, okay.
and
yeah,
actually
spread it
widened
out.
it.
Yeah, if you look at the top, you'll see there's an air gap between the two up on the left
Yeah,
corner.
I
there.
do see that. Okay.
Yep.
And then this here, was that actually a 3D printed part, or did you just fill that in using styrene?
So the part on the top is actually the cutoff from the nose, which I moved behind the cab.
Cut off from the nose.
So I shortened the nose.
Oh, okay.
So what was left over goes behind the cab to fill in that space since the cab moves up.
Wow, you took that much off the nose.
Yep.
Huh.
Yes, the U25B was one of the only GE locomotives to have the long nose.
Yeah.
So no, the engine's not entirely 3D printed. This is kind of a kit bash of 3D printing and kit bashing,
Yes.
to say the least. So the whole rear end that you see down there is 3D printed, and the whole front of the engine and the chassis is kit bashed.
The
Yeah, that
back
was-
end was 3D printed. The nose headlight mount was 3D printed. The
Not the nose, just the headlight mount.
yes, the anti-climbers on the Conrail unit were 3D printed, and the truck mounts on the Conrail unit were 3D printed, as well as the frame spacers.
John, it only makes a difference if you're a rivet counter like Vincent. That's where the 1 scale foot really makes a difference.
I don't know. Manimal accused me of being a rivet counter. I was just trying to point something out.
And what kind of saw do you use to cut the models? I don't know. What did you cut this one on the bandsaw?
This was cut all on a bandsaw.
So it's a we have a Craftsman bandsaw with a it's got a side gauge and a square guide, and that's what we pretty much cut everything with. Great work, Vincent.
Thank you.
Yeah, those came out pretty excellent. That was the picture I was looking for. Is this one here?
Yeah, there you could see the back stepped out.
Yeah,
Right
yeah,
before
you can see it in that one. Okay.
Yep. So that part just steps out slightly.
Larry Otis wants to know if you have any missing fingers.
Not yet.
So if you go to the 3D printing section of the website and you find Manimal's files for this, on the page for 3D printing this back part, he's got a link for the mesh screen that's used in there, if I'm not mistaken. I'm assuming you used the same mesh that he did.
Actually, no, I had some lying around that looked to be about the right size.
You had some lying around? He had some lying around. Just want to get
And Manimal wanted to know if those were the stock pilots on it.
No,
'Cause I was looking at that. I thought maybe you shaved them down or you made new ones, right?
I completely sanded them down and made new ones.
Yeah, you can see that black styrene there is the new one.
That's the anti-climber.
Oh, sorry.
He's on the pilot.
Sorry.
If
Yeah.
you look at later photos, I think there's pictures of it with the updated pilot.
Let's see here. Yeah, I was never a fan of the sausage link looking airlines or the molded on coupler lift bars.
Yeah, you can see it in that picture.
Okay. Yeah, that looks a lot better.
And I added the brake wheel on the side of the nose as well.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice that.
I guess you're not a rivet counter.
According to Dan, I am, but
And I
And
just use the stock cab windows to block off the windows on the side of the main window there. But Manimal has put up files for actual block off plates, as well as rear number boards as well.
Oh yeah, I thought I had that picture up there for the rear number boards. Maybe I didn't hit enter on that. That one.
So that's the problem, Sparky. They don't make it. So the only way you can get it is by building it.
And I mean, cost wise, I mean, material wise, not super expensive. I mean, printers can be had for a couple $100s and up. I guess a lot of it comes into your time and patience.
Yep. So John is asking, what is the difference between a B23 and a U30B? Go ahead.
I'm not 100% sure on that, John. I believe the U30B is from the U-boat series and the B23 is from the -7 series. So I believe the U30B did not have the wider radiator section on the back,
Flared.
if I remember correctly.
The flared radiator.
Yes.
I know the U28 didn't have the flare. I can't remember if the 30 did or not.
That might have been the first one that did have it. I'm not 100% sure on that.
Mikey's got a good question down there as well.
I'm getting to. I went to click on that, but I clicked this one. Is the brake wheel 3D printed? Yes, it is. And then with manual file, do you have to cut the frame or can you do it without cutting? I guess you could do it without cutting.
You could do it without cutting the frame, but the locomotive would be 2 scale feet short of what the real thing should be.
And then
So
129, what's that equate to?
I think it's 1.5 inches roughly.
Oh, that much.
Yeah.
Well, on 1/24th, it's a half inch to the foot.
Yes. So it'd be, roughly 1 inch.
So yeah, this came out really nice.
Thank you. Anything anyone would like to see on them before we move on to the next thing?
He still needs to finish the railing there. That's not prototypical. And the holes in the top that aren't filled aren't prototypical either.
I don't know what you're talking about. What holes?
I like to bust his chops when he tries to get all.
Well, I guess he should probably fix the cab windows then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you know, Dan, I broke the bad news to Vinny about the cab windows.
Anybody else have any? Did you 3D your rails? I don't know what you mean.
The railings?
The railings, no. Those are the original U25 railings.
Ah, that would explain why it's short on the back end then.
Kenny wants to know, would you make... Yeah, so that you could just solder on a piece. He's just got to finish that. Would you ever try a U33?
Not sure about a U33, but I'm making a U36 next.
Do you have that here to show?
I don't have that.
My ultimate desire has been doesn't really matter which of the U series, but as long as it's a 6 axle, I'd love to see.
I have 3 U25Bs currently that are awaiting chopping. One is becoming a U36B, and the other 2 don't have a fate destined for them yet. But a C30-7 is definitely a possibility.
Which I believe our friend Mark Bottrell did a C30-7, did he not?
Yes, he did, as well as I can't remember the guy's name, but Jens Bang owns 2 of them. Grant Miner built 2 of them. That's what it was.
Ah, okay.
The parts I shared are actually for the U33B.
Yes,
there you go.
the rear end was modeled after the U33B rear end. Mr. Penn Central, that's a U36B.
That's not
Perry
Penn
Central,
Central.
sorry.
Perry Central.
So like Perry Mason? So what are we moving on to next?
I think we'll look at some gondolas next.
Everybody want to look at gondolas?
Gondolas.
Gondolas.
Or gondolas? You're way too far forward.
I'm getting there.
There you go.
So it's not going to balance, is it?
Why not?
All right, we'll do one at a time then. So this is a fully 3D printed as well. I think it's 52-foot 6-inch gondola. This was modeled after a railgun. This one I've decorated for CSX. And this was printed in a similar manner to the Dolly Parton Gone in sections. You could probably see the line down the center there.
By the way, Vinny, Jen said those are U30Cs that Grant Miner did.
Okay.
So that's just a two-piece, or is it got just the seam in the middle?
So it's a seam in the middle for the frame, and then the side panels were each printed as one piece. And then each end was printed as one piece as well.
Ooh. I like how Philip Williams thinks there. He's waiting to turn an RS3 into an RSD5.
Oh. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Let's see it. Send in pictures.
Yeah, I'd love to see pictures of that.
Yeah, by all means, if anybody ever has anything that they're working on that they would like us to show, if you want to email us or message us, however you want to contact us and send us the pictures, we'll gladly show people what you're working on.
You want to throw up our email address there?
I can do that.
So Joe is asking, how are the keeping the gonds from sagging? Nobody wants a saggy gondola.
This one hasn't sagged at all. It's just 3D printed. There's no structural support at all. It's only 3D printed plastic. The other two I'm going to show, they have a steel bar that runs the length of the car for weight and rigidity. Because this one's 3D printed. The other two are actually scratch built out of styrene.
Again, we have a glue question. The railgun. I guess that's the other one.
This one.
That's railgun?
It was modeled after Railgun.
Okay.
It was just CA glue, super glue.
It's not, the side is not one piece.
It's two pieces. There's a seam
You
right
can see it
there.
from the
You can see the screw.
Yeah. You can see it from the inside.
Yeah, and you can see it on the top as well where the seam is.
What does it weigh? John wants to know.
What does it weigh? About 2 pounds, maybe.
And is Vincent doing his own CAD modeling? Yes, he is. I have SolidWorks at home, and I showed him how to use it, and he also learned, what did you use? Fusion?
Fusion 360.
He used Fusion in school in an engineering class he took in high school. And so from that, and then me showing him some SolidWorks, he's off and running. I've created a monster.
Yeah, how did I get drawn into this, Lariotis? Sagging sounds like a personal problem, and I didn't say anything about sagging.
Oh, maybe he just knows that you're saggy.
God, I tell you, one convention with him.
So this next car here is a Burlington Northern coal gondola. This one is fully scratch built out of styrene, minus the ladders, the corner ladders there. Those were 3D printed out of resin.
And those were the ones that I did for the aristo-craft car, right?
Yeah, I shortened them though.
Yeah, so those are, I 3D printed somebody a replacement for aristo-craft boxcar, 40-foot boxcar, and then he modified them to use them there.
Yeah, steel bar that runs the whole length of the car there. And the couplers are actually screwed directly into that. So they're not pulling on the plastic. They're pulling right on the metal.
I'm assuming that was same thing. You used a vinyl mask on that for the BN logo.
Yeah. And then the so on the actual car, 50040, the number is spray painted on. So I took a paint pen and actually just hand wrote the number on there.
I don't want to know how Jens Peterbang can verify that you have some sagging, but he seems to be able to verify it. Please do not send in those pictures to info@largescale because I do not want to see them when I open an email.
Yeah, make sure you send those to 4trackrr@gmail.
No. Nobody wants to see that. So what are we going on to next?
John wanted to see the number closer first.
Oh.
There you go, John. Any other questions before I move on?
I did get a, where'd it go? I just got a picture from Kyle to share. He said the dark gray hopper in this picture is the one that you did, I believe.
That is correct.
Yep. The third one from the end there.
And the others are the USA ones that he did, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. Huh. Very nice.
Thank you.
So I have all the bays that he cut off. I was going to make a 6-bay Whopper hopper, but he won't let me because it never existed.
6-bay Whopper hopper? Is that such a thing?
Why not?
No, I'm asking.
No. I'm going to do a 4-bay. I'm going to take a 3-bay and make it a 4-bay. But
what the heck is going on there?
It's a scrap load.
Ah, okay.
Which I'll talk about how I made that in a second for anyone who may be interested. But this is another scratch-built styrene gondola. This one's decorated for chassis system. And this one also has steel frame on the bottom for stability. And this one, the ladders on the end are actually scratch-built out of styrene as well. So there's nothing 3D printed on this car. Everything is scratch built, including the load, which is tin foil, aluminum foil wrapped around blocks of wood that I cut out. And all of that is glued onto a piece of board to keep it all together. Yes, John, it is bulging a little. I actually dented out the sides of this car.
In spots and dings and...
Yes. Actually, one end is even bulging out there. So I heated it up a little bit with a heat gun, and then from the back, I used a piece of wood and just poked it out a bit. And then once it cools, it keeps its shape.
So I had a friend that would take the 100-ton hoppers, aristo-craft, take all the trucks off and everything, and he would put it in his oven until it got soft, and then he would start bending, twisting it, and then he would weather it, and I mean, it would look incredible. I can't do that because I have a wife, and if she caught me putting a 100-ton hopper in the oven, I'd be in trouble.
I had a friend that got caught putting the wire spoke hubcaps from his car in the dishwasher. Said it worked great until his wife caught him.
Yep.
This one might be better to show on the other camera.
Okay.
You want to pull that down?
Let me switch cameras.
This is a high hood. It's a high hood SD40-2. So this was a USA Trains shell I started with, and it actually has a aristo-craft high hood on the front there.
Where'd you get the high hood from?
Good friend up in Canada.
Hey?
Huh?
Hey?
And I redid the pilots on this as well, added the anti-climber and the crossing platform there, as well as ditch lights. I had to put the bell back on here. And this actually has aristo-craft 3-axle trucks, which I 3D printed a mount for them to fit in to use the USA Train side frames.
So it's a mount to mount the aristo-craft motor block, and use the USA side frames.
And this also has an Aristo SD45 fuel tank. Because
Wait, is that the one that you've had for a while? You just started making it into a high nose then?
No, this was the Amtrak one. Right?
This used to be Amtrak. I don't.
Okay. You got another one. Okay.
Were you talking about this one? This thing?
Oh yeah, that's one. You got two different ones you're working on then. Okay.
Yes. This one we'll show in a minute. I believe I sent you some progress photos of this one.
Yeah, you did, and I'm trying to decipher. So that's the high nose SD40.
Yes.
Let's see here.
What is the anti-climber? John wants to know.
The anti-climber, that is, if I can get it here. That is this part right here. Oh, it's gone now.
Oh, sorry.
You're good. It's shown in the pictures too.
Is that the SD40? I'm assuming you recapped the top to get rid of the strobe and everything.
So yeah, I cut the strobe off, and then I put a styrene plate on top because the Aristo high hood is actually a little bit taller than the USA cab.
Oh, okay.
So that evens out the height of everything. There, you can see the anti-climber on the front there. So what that does is if the train were to hit a vehicle, that keeps the vehicle down and doesn't let it go up on top of the locomotive.
I think it's the same thing too. If like locomotives or cars run into it, instead of them riding up and over the cab, right?
Correct. So I left the original USA front and I just used styrene and built around it.
Now I'm not sure. Well, I know those two pictures are the other one. Did you put ditch lights on the front of that?
Yes.
So this might be the right picture.
Yep.
Is that it? Yep, there we go.
No, it doesn't. This one has a different because he's using the USA side frames.
Yeah, so that was the end photo, the final photo.
You're going to see this at RLD this year?
Most likely.
Sweet. Just don't let your dad run it. Or wait, just don't let Jonathan set up his caboose train on the main line.
I think I'll watch my own train this year. So yeah, I wired up the ditch lights on this. So
Maybe I'll bring my own train so I don't have to listen to you guys.
It has Perry Central. It has Revo installed, and it does have capability to run on battery. If you actually look in the picture that's on the screen right now, I'm running it off the battery cables.
How long have you been kit bashing and 3D printing?
As
long as I've known you.
I've been kit bashing for a while. I mean, kit bashing. But I think I've really gotten to a point where I'm proud of what I've made and like feel like it's presentable in the past 3-4 years. When we moved to Virginia, I started getting into a lot of more modern trains and modern stuff like that. So I started having to make my own stuff to get what I wanted. So I feel like I've improved a lot over the past 2-3 years.
I know the ones you're talking about. Yeah, yours were, but no, he designed his own.
I made mine sit lower.
Yeah, he modified. I've been hiding my kid from you. No, he's been with me since he's been like 4 or 5. He started going to York with me in 2000. I want to say, what was the first year I took you to York? 2008 or 2009?
It was
2009, I want to say.
Yeah, because Mom was pregnant, right? Because she didn't go.
Yeah. So I want to say the first York he went to me was 2009. He was 4 years old, and he's been with me ever since. So I haven't really been hiding him.
I haven't cut up any of Dad's trains yet.
He's
Without permission.
when he was little, he took a couple apart without my permission. But
That'll happen.
They went back together eventually.
okay, maybe hiding his work. He's on Facebook. He's posting his stuff online too.
Mostly, recently it's been a lot of custom painting, more so than scratch building or kit bashing that I've been posting. But soon there will be 2 new locomotives being posted.
Yeah, usually with extra pieces.
I borrow some parts from him sometimes. Any questions about the SD40 before we move on?
So what is it exactly? That's just an SD40-2 high notes, right?
Yes.
That's how you learn. Yep, I never let him shy away from it. I always try to, not push him, but let him enjoy it and cut up certain things. And there was things he could cut up and things he couldn't, and he's played around with HO and N scale where he did some chopping up. And, when you get a pile of that stuff for free, it's fine. Let him chop it up and learn how to do it. Right.
There are many HO trains that I cut and glued back together.
I like how Larry Otis thinks, sir. Just pull the parts from your dad's trains. He won't miss them.
I'm going to bring him over to your house, Larry, and let him pull as many parts as he likes. I'm sure your wife will let him right in.
Larry's wife is a saint. I'm sure she would. She has to be a saint. So then what was the other one we were looking at, Vinny? Is that an SD45 you're working on?
It was an SD45. You go ahead and pull up the pictures of that next. We'll look at that one next.
Let's see.
If you have them.
I've got a couple that I believe are it.
See? I knew she would.
This first one kind of concerns me. I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
So
it's the, Lionel used to make that part with the welders chopping up the engine.
What that was a SD45 frame that I cut in half and glued back together. And I actually cut the metal bar too. And one of my friends welded it back together for me. So I still have the metal bar that goes the full length of the frame for stability. So now this is the same length as a GP40.
Wait, so you took an SD45 and you shortened it up to be the same length as a GP40?
Correct.
Okay.
And then what I did is I took some stuff and I put that together. And so this is an SD45 high hood, SD45 cab, SD45 long hood. And what I'm doing here is building a GP40X. So the GP40X looked similar to a SD45, having the flared radiator and the dynamic brake blister continuing along the back with the flared radiator like that there. So what I'm doing is I'm taking the SD45 shell and shortening it to be the same length as the GP40 shell, making it a GP40X. So this here has to get cut down because the GP40 only has 2 vents, the SD45 has 3. So what I'm planning on doing is cutting this apart and using this middle vent to extend the side to be the right size there. And then the dynamic brake needs one of the fans removed, and that needs to get shortened. And then in front of the front radiators here, this section here needs to be removed as well.
Does anybody become a moil anymore?
What's that?
It's Larry has this question.
I don't know what a mahole is, but
I think he means a moil.
Don't know what that is either.
I know what that is. I'll send it to you later.
Oh no. Yeah, but this is a project I'm currently working on. So basically just cutting down an SD45 into a GP40, essentially. I have 3 different road names here, but it's eventually going to get painted into the Southern Railway tuxedo scheme.
Huh. That's going to look pretty wild.
Yeah, they were interesting engines. They didn't make very many of them, and they lasted fairly long. They lasted into I think the 90s was when they were retired mostly. There's still a few running around on short lines, but
I saw a picture of it was some type of rebuild from an SD40 the other day where basically like the nose, like the whole body was all the way forward, and like all the like the back porch was like double the size it normally is. It was like an LTX leasing unit or something.
what?
If I find it, I'll have to send it to you. I saw it and I'm like, what the heck is going on with that?
Just our interaction with each other. That's what he's commenting on.
What is the biggest piece you can 3D print one piece? We can print 12 by 12 by, what is it?
11.
12 by 12 by 11 inches. Engine Yard said, what did they say? Won't the single fan GP40 dynamic brake work? No, it won't, because this one has, so on the GP40, it flares out and then it flares back in before the rear fans. On the GP40X, it stays flared out, and that continues into the rear section. The back 3 fans would be here.
Ah.
So I thought about using that, but unfortunately that won't work.
It's giving its life for a good cause, John.
John would prefer if you cut up something Lehigh Valley.
Oh, we have one of those. That's get cut up soon.
There's a Lehigh Valley GP38 in the garage that has some blue paint in its future.
It's going to the dip tank, John.
I think I can hear John grinding his teeth from here.
So what's this now?
This?
Yeah.
I don't know. What is that?
I don't know. Blasphemy.
What do you got going on there? That's looking kind of interesting.
This last thing I have to show y'all tonight. So this was a USA Trains Jeep 7 that I obviously cut the nose down on. And this is going to get built into a GP10, which were the protocol rebuilt locomotives. And
what road name is this one going to be?
this one's going to be painted for the Eastern Shore Railroad, which ran down to Cape Charles, which is about an hour from where we live.
Did you send them pictures of the locomotive?
Not the real one.
Yeah.
The 2 pictures I've got of that pretty much shows exactly what you're holding up right now.
If you give me 1 second, I'm going to send you a picture of the real thing. So it's got a really beautiful paint scheme on it.
Which way you sending that to me so I know where to look? I got like 5 things open.
I'm going to send it on Messenger.
All right, let me see if I can find the right window here.
Most of the time, you're just using automotive primer, right?
Well, I've been using the Rust-Oleum primer,
Yeah.
which seems to work pretty well.
Oh, what printers? Sorry, didn't somebody say primers? I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. What printers are we using? Not an Elgo. A Photo Mono S, which just died on me, so I got to buy a new one.
Oh, your resin broke on you.
Yeah, somebody before I owned it dripped resin inside of it, and it ate away some components.
I've seen some people get it down in there and it hardens, and that causes some problems too.
Yeah, well, it ate through the cable. What first happened was the screen went. So I ordered a new screen, and when I went to replace it, it ate through the cable of the screen. So I replaced that. Yep, there it is.
That's out at a museum in Cape Charles.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
he's going to 3D print all the hatches there, and
All the vents on top. It has the 4 exhaust stacks. And I'm also going to 3D print the number board housing that goes above the cab or on the cab.
Let's see. Philip Williams would love to see someone build an SD9.
I was considering it, but to make it accurate, it would be a pain to start with a USA locomotive. It'd be easier to actually start with just styrene.
Rocky Alguire is, I think, the only one that I know of that's attempted an SD9 and G.
I'd like to do an SD. I was going to do an SD7. That's what I was looking at. They're fairly similar, but
yeah, I'm not sure which he did, to be honest with you now, 7 or a 9.
The doors and the vents and the fans they're so off from a Jeep 7 or a Jeep 9 to an SD7 or an SD9. It would be more work to cut up one of these locomotives and build that than to start with styrene and use whatever USA parts you could. You could probably use the cab, the battery boxes, the nose would probably be usable, and then I would use 2 frames and cut and splice them together, but you could also build that out of styrene.
Those were the last models you had sitting there to show Vinny?
Yeah, Larry Otis said, weren't those rebuilt F units?
No, he's saying, have you thought of making an F40?
No, right here it says, weren't those rebuilt F units?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He's saying, have you ever thought of making an F40? Weren't those rebuilt F units?
No.
No? Okay.
F40s were not rebuilt F units.
They're basically what do they call that? It's basically a GP40, isn't it, with a full body on it?
It's a GP40 with a cow body geared for passenger service.
Cow body. There we go. Couldn't think what I wanted to call that.
The only locomotive that I know of that was a rebuilt F unit was the CF7. Oh, yeah. See? Different. Yeah. So, yeah, this is not rebuilt out of an F unit. The Santa Fe rebuilt several F units into CF7 locomotives, which look similar but are different. As far as I know, MDC never planned an SD9, but Aristo had they had it in the catalog. I think around 2008, 2009, they were planning.
They did mention it, and I thought there was rumors of AccuCraft at one time, but I don't know if they ever officially mentioned anything. So what's this one we're looking at here now, Vinny? Is that a GP38?
Yes, that's a GP38-2 high hood. Now that high hood is 3D printed. That is not an Aristo high hood. So that unit also started out as Pennsylvania. Sorry, John.
Is that the only thing you modified on that, was just putting the high nose on it?
The high nose, ditch lights, and then painting it was really the only modifications to this one.
Oh, was that hood not resin printed?
No, that was FDM printed.
Oh, wow. You had a little bit of smoothing to do on that then, huh?
Yeah.
That's why the gray one you can see is all smoothed out. And
yeah. So if you look close enough, anybody that's not familiar, you can see and you can feel those lines. I can feel them looking at them.
Yeah.
But your end results on it came out very well, I thought.
What model did it start off as? Are you talking about the high hood or the Jeep 10?
Wait a minute. Oh, that's at your old place. Okay.
Yep, that's the old layout. But there's the finished product.
Is that engineer facing the right way? Shouldn't that be running long hood forward?
That's the conductor side.
Oh, yeah, right. That is the conductor. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm thinking about this backwards.
This started off as a GP38-2 from USA Trains, which had a low front hood, and I made it a high front hood.
I got to say, I'm a big fan of that shot right there.
Thank you.
I like the lighting and the angle.
That layout did have some nice lighting in the later hours of the day.
Let's see. I thought there was something else you sent me. You said you didn't have there.
Oh, the front runner.
Yeah. And I'm kind of confused looking at these pictures. Did you?
So a
Did
current
you-
one on the screen, I think he's talking about the other one previous to this.
No, he sent that one. This was on the screen.
Oh, that's the same
Yeah,
engine?
I answered that already.
Okay.
That's what I was talking about.
So
All
the,
right.
the
Sorry.
different pictures I have of the front runner here, did you upgrade it from single axles to having trucks on it, Vinny?
Okay, so when I started building it, I didn't have it. So it's supposed to have single axles. When I started building it, I didn't have the trucks made yet, so I just had it sitting on dual axle trucks temporarily.
Trying to see what I got. Yeah. So this is the way it's supposed to be, right? With the
Correct.
Single.
The single
Okay.
truck, single axle,
So that's when it was pretty much done then.
minus
now-
decals.
Now I understand what I'm looking at. So then this is when you started on it, correct?
Yes. So
Is that an Aristo trailer or what is that?
that's an Aristo road railer. Yes.
Okay.
So many years ago, I started building a front runner out of styrene, which is why those where the trailer wheels sit are already yellow. But the plastic warped terribly. So what I did is I very carefully cut the old wheel rests off of the original one. I made a new wooden frame for it, and then I started building a new one.
So wait, that frame is just wood on it. I thought you did like aluminum channel or something.
Nope, it's just wood.
Those were the
Huh.
ones he did. What did you do? 3 or 4 to sell?
I
those
did. I
are-
made
those are for
3
Gerald,
out of
weren't they?
aluminum that I sold.
Yeah. Okay. And that's held up pretty well being done out of wood?
Oh yeah,
Hmm.
it even it fell off the bridge on our layout.
Whoops.
Guess who was running the train?
Who? I'm not going to guess.
C420.
I was considering making a C420, but that would have to be a fully 3D printed locomotive minus the trucks. I believe those had the Alco trucks on it, similar to the U25B.
I would love to have an Alco road diesel.
Well, if I ever make a C420, we could work out a deal.
I told Dackman the other day that I wanted one, and he goes, "They're all junk." I said, "That's why I want one. They're junky."
Do you use photographs or engineering drawings to create your 3D files?
Neither. I use SolidWorks.
No, he's saying like when you were.
For reference
And-
material, Vinny.
Yeah, for reference.
Oh, for reference, I don't really create reference photos. I just go online and find the best picture I can, and I'll scale whatever measurements I know, whatever measurements I need off of something I know, whether that be a wheel diameter, the length of the car, the height of the car, anything like that.
I mean, you can find some details online, length, width, height kind of thing, weight, and then you could extrapolate any information. Like he said, once you know one dimension, you can scale off of that.
There are some drawings online, like Greenbrier has drawings of their 62-foot bulkhead flat car that you can look at, but the dimensions are not great. It really just has like an overall dimension, and some of them don't read very well.
John wants to know how much money you would charge to 3D print a locomotive.
Depends what locomotive, John, because I could 3D print you a GE 25-ton switcher for about $50.
C630 is 628 or
C630 or C628, that's a fairly large locomotive. If I had to estimate, I would say 3 to 4 spools of filament for that.
well, plus your time to model it.
Yeah, plus modeling time. So just in material costs, you'd have about $120 in material costs. To design something like that, I mean, that would be, 30 hours maybe.
So you're both familiar with HO, and I can't remember what the official model designation is, but do you recall years ago in their sets, Tyco made what they called a Alco Century Super or something like that? It was a 6-axle high nose.
Oh, I think that's a 628.
Is that a 6? That's what I that was like was the first train set I ever had. I'd love to have that in G. I always thought that was a cool looking locomotive.
Definitely. FP45. I don't know if I'm allowed to say who, but I do know someone is working on making an FP45, and they may or may not be having kits for sale.
Oh boy, you're going to get the natives all riled up.
We may or may not know of someone who may or may not be doing.
They are doing it. It's more so time and how much is the kit actually going to cost.
So the biggest thing about 3D modeling, and some stuff is pretty quick and you can knock it out. Other things could take you hours just in modeling time. So never mind just the printing time, which could take like 8 to 10 hours to print something. Then you gotta take the time it takes to make the part. So a lot of times people will ask me to make something, and I'll say, well, it's going to take me 30 hours of time to sit down and draw it and sketch it and make sure everything fits and works right. And then you got to print it. So, it's not only the material, like people are like, oh, you just print it for $25 as a spool. And, there's hours upon hours going into it. That's why when I charge, when somebody asks me to do something, I say it's $100. And they go, $100? Oh, I'm not going to sit there and
your time's worth something, right?
Well, I'm not going to spend 40 hours designing something that I'm going to sell 2 of and charge you $20 for it. Because, I think my time's worth more than $5 an hour.
I got a comment on Joseph Lipinski here, because I think he's right. I'm still convinced that Manimal doesn't sleep. He just stays awake designing and drawing and printing. And
Well, yeah. I wish I was retired too.
Since we're looking at the front runner there, and I'm thinking about semi-trailers, something I wanted to throw out there to people is, and your luck may vary, as other people have told me, but if you have an Ollie's bargain outlet near you, they've been getting in a whole ton of AMT model kits, some of which are semi-trailers. This is the Fruhoff trailer they made in 125th, 124th, whatever that is. But these trailer kits are it's kind of blurry there, but $19.99, $20 a piece for the trailer kits that they have in. If you go and check out your local Ollie's and they don't have them, I would say check back, because the one near me didn't, and then they got some in the next week. But they've got, depending on what their selections are, they've got several different kits, but all the semi kits are $20 a piece. So if you need trailers to put on your front runners or flat cars or whatever, I think $20 a pop is kind of hard to beat.
One thing I will say, they are a little bit bigger than the aristo-craft road railer trailers, and I don't believe they will fit on the Ole Valley flat cars. They're too wide.
I'm going to find out.
I could actually, if you want, I have one of the trailers, Aristo trailer, and the Ole Valley car in the garage. We can find out right now.
I might have 6 of those trailers.
But yeah, they are a little bit bigger, a little bit longer.
Yeah, my intention was, if they were too wide, was to try and shorten the axles up a little bit, but we'll see what happens with them.
If you're gonna do that, I would not glue the trailer running gear that holds like the axles and everything. Don't glue that on.
Okay.
Because
You may need to resize it.
yeah. At least from the kit I got, it would be really difficult to resize once it's all glued together.
Yeah, I have some of the 132 trailers that AMT made, and they just seem way too small to me for some reason. And that's kind of the thing we fall into with 129th scale, I guess, is it's really not a standard scale outside of G.
That's what I was always saying. If anybody ever started again, they should start at like 124th. They should have stuck with 124th and gauged the tracks wider.
What happened to the B20 BQ23-7 party cab? The heck
I
is the animal
haven't-
talking about?
I haven't designed it yet, Dan. I'm working on it. I've been busy, but what he's talking about is so Seaboard Coastline ordered several B-23-7s with a larger cab to fit 5 crew members. And the reason for doing so is this was around the time they were getting rid of cabooses, but they were still trying to keep a 5-man crew on each train.
5-man crew.
Yes.
Wow, you got deep pockets.
So it'd be engineer, conductor, and 3 brakemen, which would normally be in the caboose, but now they were in the
3
cab.
brakemen? Wow.
So on the CSX one, if I grab it here, the front handrails aren't attached, and the cab, if I can get this one out, the cab is not attached either. Just comes off, and it just has the one plug for the lights. So what I'm going to do is design the BQ23-7 cab, and it's going to be interchangeable on this unit. So I could either have it as a B23-7 or a BQ23-7.
He's going to make it dual purpose.
Yes,
Ah,
if that's what you want to call it.
Yep, it does take time. People don't realize it. And, again, my time to me is worth more than $4 an hour.
what? 4? You're
I don't
expensive.
know what. Once someone advertised.
Ooh, no, I disagree with Andrew B. A Baldwin Babyface. Those are just weird looking. They kind of look like an F unit, but they're, well, I shouldn't say I disagree with them. I think it would be a neat model, but I've seen pictures and they're kind of odd looking.
I think somebody did make what was it? A casting of that, right? Isn't that what Gerald has?
That was 3D printed,
Oh, that one was 3D printed. Oh,
but it was quite expensive.
yes. So somebody did make a. I don't think they had a fireman by that time, right?
No, they wouldn't have had a fireman with diesels.
Well, since we're getting into the last 15
Exactly. Do you want to
minutes
start the
here,
giveaway before we run
that's
out
what I
of
was
time?
going to say is let me put the stuff up for that so we can get people start entering for it. And I got a couple other things to show as we're letting people enter that.
Anyone
So-
ever try an AS 616?
I would love to see someone try that. That
Just
would
as
be-
a reminder, so our giveaway is going to be for the Real Railroad Shop Rail Pro in front of the camera, the Case Rail Pro remote with lanyard, so that you don't do like Manny and drop $500. Feel the
6.
same. 6, yeah. I think 5 is just as bad. So, if you'd like to be the lucky winner of that tonight, all you got to do is in the live chat.
First, you need Rail Pro, and then you
Cool.
enter in their live chat.
Is in the chat, whether on Facebook or YouTube, is enter in hashtag Real to enter the giveaway. Doesn't, yeah. Let's see, remind us again, 600.
I told you.
So, yep. And Tom's train terminal got it right. It's all together, no spaces. Hashtag Real. So, while we're letting people enter that,
Larry doesn't even know what Rail Pro is. Why is he entering?
I don't know. Why is Larry? I'm not sure how Larry thinks. And I agree, man. It does hurt. I'm laughing with you, not at you. I'm not sure what Nico's doing, but I'm laughing with you. I think you made a nice quality product there, and I'm sure that if I ever had Rail Pro, I would want one of those cases on it. So,
How do we connect with you designers? I don't know which designer you're talking about. I could be reached, and Vinny and I can be reached at 4trackrr@gmail.com.
And if you're ever not sure, you can always send I believe you get those emails, don't you? The stuff that goes to info
Yep.
at largescaletrains.com.
Yep.
So yeah, anything you send to info at largescaletrains.com, that will go to Nico and myself.
Brian Brunn can be found on Facebook.
So one of the things I wanted to show while we're doing that,
Coil cars. One day I'll get my coil car done. So we did the first pour of the flat car, and then I did a weather test. Since I'm down in Southern Virginia, I put it out in the heat for 2 days, and I had some Boeing that I was not ecstatic with. So I'm going to order some more material. And then, like I said, once we get the flat car done, the next car is the coil car.
So as I was saying earlier, I've done some revamp to things on the website. There might be some places that don't work right now for some reason, but we'll get to that. But if you're interested in the files for the U30, well, you did a B23-7, but Dan said the files that are up there are actually for U33B. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So if you go on over to the website and you go to the resources, you'll see there's a 3D printing pop out there. And I spent some time today trying to reorganize things. I do have some links here to jump you to 3 of the main sections. I do have some, and this isn't an all-inclusive collection of stuff. I've been trying to collect things from printables and Thingiverse. A lot of things might be from a guy named Manimal. There's stuff from several other people that may be in the chat in here as well, but you'll find links that go to the different places, and these are all files that are free to download.
What was his name? Stacy?
Who?
Manimal. Remember when we met him up in Kim or Stacy or something?
Well, we never met him in person. In his profile picture, he's got a horse head, and then he's wearing someone else's name tag, and he's looking at us like, we should know who he is. But there's a collection of some different stuff on here. Let's see. Of course, Manimal's GP9B cab that he drew up here recently. Let's see. That's NW2. There's some, oh yeah, I never showed that before. Manimal actually did a headlight relocation kit for the Dash 9 for NS that moves the headlight down onto the nose where it's actually at on them, I guess.
It moves it away from the nose.
Or away from those. Thank you. I knew it was one way or the other. And
there's the bearing caps.
Oh, yeah. Well, and actually, I think he's working on a new one now that's got like the speed recorder on it. Is this what you used on that to do the GP40 trucks, Vincent? This
No.
Aristo to USA adapter to use? No?
No, I used, I made my own adapter for that.
So there's our files for the U33B that he has up there. I believe I just added that today. He added the battery boxes that go on the one side. And then it's also got, I guess that's it for the locomotive stuff. But just quickly scrolling through there, like I said, I've been trying to collect more things on here. I'm trying to organize it by manufacturer, model specific. If there's specialty stuff in there. So if you see any files that are free on any of the various sites that have this stuff and you think it's something I should have up there, by all means, you can message me or shoot an email over. I would love to add it into the site because if you go on to Thingiverse or printables and just try to search G scale, it gets kind of, you got to search several different ways on the sites. G scale, G gauge. Sometimes it's got to do specific aristo-craft. The stuff's kind of all.
Yeah, it depends how the people label it.
Yeah, they don't. The sites don't have like a category. that you can select for the files that say this is for G scale, which would be nice. Let's see. Was there something else? There was something else I wanted to show. So I had a couple of photos and a video that was a follow-up on storing your freight cars and that when you're not running them. Oh,
So you were supposed to do that in the beginning.
Yeah, I know. It got away from us. It's okay.
So for someone thinking about getting into 3D printing, what would you recommend for a first printer? There's so many models changing at such a rapid rate right now. I don't even know. The best thing to do would be just go and look for something that's got a good rating on it. I mean, you had good luck with your Ender 3, right?
Yeah, the Ender 3 Pro that I have, I've had no issues with that. The Ender 3 Max, when I first got it, I was having a lot of stringing issues. And I found the problem to be it was under extruding. So once I did a test for it, I had to go in and adjust the amount of filament it was pushing, which fixed the issue for me. But yeah, it depends. I mean, if you're going to get a 3D printer, you got to have a tinkering mindset. You can't be afraid to play with things. If you just want something you're going to pull out of the box and it's going to work, I don't see that happening in 3D printing.
No.
Here's
a funny one.
What's that? Any leads on the 3D printed lowering kits for the aristo-craft FA1? Yeah.
I know somebody who makes one.
I think I might know a guy that makes it too. I might know a guy that's got 3 sets of them that he hasn't put on yet.
Along with the 2-bay lowering kit and freight car lowering kit.
I've actually got all that stuff collected in one box now, so that I don't lose it again.
So happy. If you go to my website, 4trackrr.store, you can find the lowering kit on there. It also comes with the blocks to so on the front you can cut off the tab with the post. Thank you. You cut up the post, and in the rear you remove the swinging hanger, and it comes with the mounts for your KDs. The other thing is you need decent track work when you lower them, because then the front can scrape.
Yeah. Once you lower them, that front will rub.
Yep.
So what I'm showing you on the screen here now, this is from the local club, and these are actually, I guess, rolling shelves, we'll call them, that they made, so that they can actually roll the whole shelf out to the layout and load the stuff on. You can see they kind of have the wider base on it for the wheels, so it's not tipsy. But they did the same thing like Jonathan Straczynski did on his stuff. If we look at it up close here, where rather than cutting grooves in the boards, they actually just have a what am I looking for? A lattice strip on there to go in between the wheels. And although these are a single-sided shelf, I guess if you had wide enough doorways from the roll through, you could do a wider double-sided, but I think they work pretty nicely. If you have stuff inside, or I guess they would even work in the garage, as long as you're not planning on rolling them through the yard, to be able to just roll the whole rack of cars out and load them on the layout. And they just have a strip across the front so nothing falls off. Pretty simple design. I think they were fairly inexpensive for them to construct. Let's see here. Oh, I see Andrew B. just ordered some RS3 stanchions from you, Nico.
Yep, and a bell harp.
And a what?
A bell harp.
Bell harp. Okay.
Yep.
And then
there's a question here. I don't really understand it, but maybe somebody else. It says, IMDC, can I attach capacitor to the RailPro?
Direct current? Or...
Well, yeah.
I think maybe they might be asking, they run DC track power, perhaps?
I guess. I mean, does the Rail Pro have the option? Like,
yes. Yep. Rail Pro will do track power and or battery.
No, I meant like the Revo. You can plug in a capacitor board to get,
Oh, I see what you mean. That I could not tell you. I haven't heard anybody say anything about needing a capacitor for like a keep alive on them.
I'm not sure.
Cody says no.
Cody said no. Mm-hmm. No, it does not. So there's your answer. No, it does not. I don't know what Lyndon Foster is asking about something.
Yeah. I'm not.
We're both clicking on it. Stop clicking.
I'm not clicking on anything. For instance, the new products link, I don't see it on the site anywhere. If you're referring to the, well, let me go back here. If you're referring to the info on the stuff we mentioned at the beginning of the show, I guess it's not in a very intuitive place. If you go onto the site, you're going to want to click on the blog section, and then you will see everything in here listed, new products. There is other things in here, like there's an announcement for the upcoming show and from something else. But if you just want to specifically see new products, if you just click that new products on one of them, it'll resort it so all you see is the announcement for the new products. I assume that's what you were looking for. I hope that answers your question.
So Brian said Rail Pro has a capacitor built in for the controls for power, not at all. And then Cody said don't need them, works great without them. So hope that answers your question.
And then the last thing I'm going to show you here on as far as car storage goes.
You want to start running the...
It's already running. I was going to show this video, and then we'll do the drawing for the giveaway.
All right, and then call it a night? Because I need my beauty sleep.
I say you've been looking rougher as the show went on.
Yep.
Just kidding. So let's see here. Let me share this. Oh, not settings. Sorry. I had to stop sharing that to reshare it. Video file. So this video, bring it up here. This is our friend Steven. And he actually has run-through storage on his layout. His layout is ground level.
Steven who? Steven who? There's a lot of Stevens in the...
Barrier.
Thank you.
Yeah. You might be going to his house this year. I don't know.
I am going to his house.
So he's actually got a run-through setup, which you'll see in this video here. I thought it was actually pretty cool when I was there, the way he has it set up. At first, I thought it was a chicken coop. But the whole roof on it's hinged and can lift up. He's got, 4 or 5 tracks in there?
You got to send me that video.
Well, if you look at the, I believe it's the Ruby Railroad video I have, that's actually his layout. This scene is in that.
Well, if you already have this little section cut out, can't you just send it?
Yeah, I can send it to you. And then what you're seeing here in this part, this is exiting from the run-through storage, and this is actually his workshop that he has. He's got a workbench and stuff there, and it actually runs right through his workshop. Those would be Jonathan the Fish Guy's engines running. And since we were there last, he's redesigned this whole thing coming out the other side. Apparently Cody and I forced him to do more work, I guess. But that's just another example of some run-through storage. If you have the space or ability to do it, it's definitely a lot nicer than having to carry your stuff out.
I don't like doing that.
I don't like doing it either. My back's not liking it either. All right. So I believe we have stopped getting people putting in for the giveaway.
Yeah, it's 9:01.
9:01. All right. So
Party's over.
party's over. Party's never over. Let's see here. Let me share the giveaway. Where's it at? All right. So we got 33 lucky people that have entered.
Kyle's falling asleep.
I'm surprised Kyle's still awake. All right. Let's see who's going to be our lucky winner tonight of the Rail Pro case with lanyard. Here we go.
Where are we going?
And who's going to get robbed tonight?
I always get robbed, so it don't matter.
Hey, the Infinity Hobbies channel is our lucky winner tonight.
Hey, it's coming down to Virginia. See, he should have just sent it to me. It would have been a lot quicker.
So I may have your address information here still. You might want to send that to me again, Infinity Hobbies channel, and I will get that packaged up and shipped out to you. I think you're going to really like that. And let's see, I was just looking in the chat. Nobody's yelling, I got robbed. So,
Well, I got robbed, but that's besides the point.
yeah, that's, I got to make those t-shirts yet that say I got robbed. But congratulations, Infinity Hobby channel.
Yep.
So, with that said,
I yelled at my screen. People got robbed.
our next show is going to be September 17th, and our guest is going to be our sponsor and president of Split Jaw Products, David Bergman. We're going to be taking a look at some new products that he's offering and seeing what he's been up to since we spoke to him last. And what do we got there? Oh, you're welcome, Taya. I'm glad that everybody enjoyed the show tonight.
Thank you, Vinny, for coming on again.
Of course.
Yeah.
Anytime.
People didn't tune in to watch us. They wanted to watch you. You're the only person without glare on your forehead,
I was going to say, he's the only one with hair.
I compensate for both of y'all.
So, yeah. So we'll be back. That's actually less than a month away. September 17th.
Yep.
So that's 1, 2, 3 weeks from now. And then 2 weeks after that, we'll be at RLD Hobbies for the fall open house.
Looking forward to that.
So,
Hope Jonathan brings his cabooses.
you got to stop looking at Jonathan's caboose. He's a married man.
That doesn't mean anything.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap.
You just froze up. I don't know if we both froze up, but you froze up.
Huh?
Alrighty then. Well, for Andrew, are you
Am I
Max?
not here?
Now you're back.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what are you talking about? I can
You
hear
froze
you.
up.
Oh,
You were Max Headrooming it. Max.
so we'll wish you all a good night and have fun running your trains out there.
Yep. See you all next time.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Have a good night.